Stop. Here. Hey. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Biz Buzz Live. I'm gonna dive in today to the another week of the topics around AI. I know you're tired of hearing it. I know. Some of you are like, man, can you stop with this AI stuff? I don't know, right? All this stuff. But man, we can't get away from this thing, y'all. We're not gonna be able to get away from it. So at least we can just talk about it. So stick around on today's show. Let's have a conversation. All right, what's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Biz Buzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan, your financial coach, financial strategist, helping you through all things money. So glad right now we're live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube. Feel free, y'all, to stick around, drop some comments in the chat, ask some questions. I'm here for this next 30 minutes to have this conversation with you. Again, like I said, around a topic that we've been hearing a ton about, which is AI. And I know some of you are tired of talking about it. Some of you are scared of it. Some of you push against it. Some of you embrace it. I think there's a small percentage of people that actually embrace it fully. But I think we have to have a conversation about it. Why? Why do we have to have a conversation about it? Like I tell you every time when we dive on, the reason why we started Biz Buzz Live is because no matter what I've seen in the financial space, no matter who has come to have what conversation, whatever conversation with me around their finances, around their insurance, around their retirement, around their debt, around their savings, around their kids' savings, like whatever people are talking to me about, inevitably we get back to a conversation around cash flow. We get back to a conversation around what's coming in and what's going out. Again, as a financial professional, as somebody that's been in the industry for some time, I think we've done an okay job, a pretty good job at all the areas, teaching people how to invest. There's tons of content about investing. There's not a lot of content about saving, but I think we understand that we should be saving money. I think there's a lot of content around where our money goes, how to budget it, how to not buy the $5 coffee. That was a big thing a couple years back is, Starbucks is making you poor, right? And then who is it? Ramit Sethi probably was talking about how that's not the case, right? But either way, we've done a good job of having the conversation about budgeting. And, Uncle Dave has talked to you about, emergency fund savings and all the stuff. I think we've had really good information around where the money goes. Here's where I don't think we've had enough insight and enough information. I don't think we've talked enough about how to make money. I don't think we've talked enough about how we're going to continue to create income for ourselves. We're very good at looking at the economy, inflation, the things that keep rising, the cost of everything keeps going up, but our incomes remain the same. Yet they print money, right? Our incomes remain the same, yet they print money, and there's more money in circulation now than has ever been, right, in the history of time. So why is it only going to a certain amount of people and not going to another group of people? Now, many of you that have the victim mindset will say, right, it's the government, it's the society, it's economy, yada, yada. Again, there's some truth to those things, but we can't control it. You don't run the government, so you can't control the government. So might as well not even factor that in. What can we control? We can control ourselves, our actions and our attitudes. So the actions that we need to take in order to make money might be different than the actions we've had to take over the past 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Doesn't mean that like it should be back the way that it was. Doesn't mean that like, it's worse off now. It's never been a simpler time to make money. Never been simpler to make money. And that's why we need to have this conversation here on BizBuzz, because we need to talk about what are the ways to make money? What industries are growing? What industries are dying? Do we choose to be an entrepreneur? Do we choose to climb the corporate ladder and continue to go that direction? Just last week, we had a great guest on, Natalie. She talked a lot about, right, just what it takes to have that right resume, or, have that, search in your career, put yourself in a position where you're getting the right job, the right career, you're making yourself stand out, right? We were having that conversation. If that's something that you think you want, hey, I think I want to climb the corporate ladder. I think I want to be able to be a staple at a company. That's a path. What I will always say, and what I've said on the show over and over again, is we make money to the level of our skill sets, right? We make money to the level of our skill set. And because we make money to the level of our skill set, how we make money today, even if incomes haven't risen, how we make money today is based on your skill set. It's what you've been trained to be good at. I don't know what that is for you. I'm not sure, right? For everybody, it's a little bit different. What you've been trained to be good at might be something that will not be needed in 5 years. Not just your job position, but like the skill sets you have around your job, right? The skill sets you have around it. That position might still be there, but they might need people that have better people skills than you, right? Or have better technology skills than you. I don't know what that is. Go back to an old BizBuzz Live. If you're here on YouTube, maybe we can link it up. I really think this is an important one, when we talked about the World Economic Forum saying these are the top 10 skill sets that are going to be needed if you want to go off and have a job in the future. I listed them for you. We took like 4 or 5 weeks last year to talk about, hey, these are the skill sets that the World Economic Forum, the people that like are the leaders of countries, say, hey, this is where the skill sets need to be in order for us to keep a working population. And many of those things, if you go back and watch that show, many of those things are entrepreneurial traits. They're the skill sets that will be needed in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be entrepreneurial traits, creative thinking, and analytical thinking. There was a bunch of them. I don't have them off the top of my head, but go back and watch that show and the first show we listed all 10, and I think the next 2 or 3 shows after that we started diving into them. But our skill sets have got to change if we want to make money. We do not need to complain about the fact that everything's going up. You just have to get better. Jim Rohn has a great quote. He says, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." For real though, don't wish it were easier to like that you just made more money, that your job just gave you a raise, that you just had less responsibilities, less work to do, and you can make more money and you can pay your bills and life can just be a breeze and you can just kind of skate through. I know that's not the way, 20 years ago, it was a breeze for maybe some people. They found their job, they got their pension, they got their, 401k or whatever the case is, and they had a work-life balance and only one person had to work. And right, we look back and like, oh, that life was better then. Life changes. It's not better or worse, it's just different. So you, person listening to me right now, that you want to go make more money, you want to change your financial life, you have to change with the times. It's that simple. It's that simple. 100 years ago, everyone in our country was in some form of agriculture. 100 years ago, everyone, 90% of the people that lived in America were in some form of agriculture or like work with their hands. Just 100 years ago, y'all. In the 1920s, right? 1910. That's where people were. And then like the tractors started coming, and then the industrialization of farms started coming, and all these things. And guess what? People lost jobs. And then new jobs popped up. They had factories where they had machinery, and people had to learn how to use machinery. That's not something they learned before. Then they had to start learning how to distribute. Then the instead of, the horse and buggy, it became the train. And then after the train and the railroad, people had to learn how to build railroads. That wasn't a thing that they did. And right, like this is just, it's happened since the beginning of time. So I want us to all understand that as we're talking about how to increase your cash flow, how to make more money, today's conversation, we're going to talk about AI because things are changing. Just like there was somebody that like made money, I don't know, welding horseshoes. Like they were the best horseshoe welder of their community. Everyone came to them and got their horseshoes made, and they bartered, and they were really rich in their town because they made horseshoes. That person ultimately lost the job after a while. Good, bad, and different. We just didn't need horses. But I bet you're really, really excited that you have a car today, right? I hope you probably look back at 100 years ago and be like, man, how could people get across the country in a horse? Right? Like you're excited that we have planes, right? You're excited, you've adapted. This is what we have to do with AI. Okay. I don't I want you to take away the stigma. I want you to take away what you've heard of all the bad things that are going to happen. Let me just tell you, right? The robots will kill us one day. I'm joking, but not really. Right? One day the robots will take over all the stuff. I know that's scary for people to hear, right? But you got to know while we're going through this transition, because it's a transition right now. While we're going through this transition, you have to start to upgrade your skills. You have to get better. You have to learn things. If you want to make more money, if you want to talk about how you're going to make money over the next 5 to 10 years, I know it's hard right now. You think it's going to get easier. Technically, AI will make it kind of easier, but like it's going to get harder for you to like understand these skills if you get left behind. I used to say this when I got into the marketing space and kind of learning content and stuff like that back in 2015. I was listening to Gary Vee back in 2015, and he was on a path of like convincing people that like, no, you need to be on Facebook, like you need to be on Instagram, and back then it was Musically instead of TikTok, right? Like in Snapchat and all the stuff. He was like, you need to be here. Like this is how people are going to communicate. And what I would always tell people is, man, if you miss the boat on social, everything that comes after that, you're going to be way left behind. Like you're going to be so far behind, you don't even know it. And that's what's happening. People that didn't embrace the social media era come to VR and AR and AI and all the stuff we're headed to, people can't even grasp it because you didn't see the change. You didn't see the changes happening. My encouragement to you today is that you see the changes happening. You see the changes happening in AI. What have you seen? What have you seen? Right? Drop some comments in the chat. What have you seen on AI? What are some of your questions on AI? What are the things that you are using or actively like choosing to not use when it comes to AI? How are you putting this into your life? Are you doing it in small ways? For me personally, like I don't write too many emails anymore. I just dictate my emails to Gemini, and Gemini writes out my emails. I'm about to get on, I haven't been on Claude in a while. So like I'll probably switch to that in a bit, but like Gemini has been a great writer for me. And so when I have ideas and thoughts, I'm better at orating than I am at typing and, writing things out. So I'll talk it. I'll say, hey, Gemini, these are things that like I need to write an email to this person. Here's my relationship with this person. Make this tone a bit professional or a bit friendlier or a bit more casual or a bit more, right? Again, proposal like, however I'm talking about it. And then I say, here's the idea of kind of what I'm thinking. I need to write an email to this person regarding this. These are the conversations we had, and I really just want to see if they're open to having another conversation with me. Boom, writes me an email. I double check it, make sure spelling's good, make sure it sounds like me, sends it out, right? How are you using AI in your life? How are you putting it in your life? Are you starting in small ways to just put it in? Or are you pushing against? My encouragement is we got to put it in small ways. What have we seen? What have you seen that's out there? I've been paying attention to a lot of this stuff. And let me just tell you, it's moving so quickly. It's moving so quickly. What I me we're holding a an AI like kind of web, like a luncheon, like a seminar. We get like 20-30 minutes to talk about AI basically. So I'm only going to really scratch the surface, but I'm waiting until it gets closer to the end of the month when we're actually giving this to actually put together the presentation, because by the time I put together, if I put it together now, by the time I go, it's going to be different. There's going to be different things. This is how quickly things are moving. And if you're not just curious enough to spend 30 minutes a day playing around with it, an hour a day playing around with it, outside of your staying in your, watching Netflix or doing the same things that you've been doing, if you're not curious, like, you're going to get left behind again. So again, this is for people that want to make more money. You're complaining about the economy. You think your job's not safe or whatever. You just got laid off. Right before jumping on here on LinkedIn, I saw LinkedIn dropped an article that like we lost 92,000 jobs in the month of February. We lost we lost 92,000 jobs. It's not, it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like a ton, but like it's almost 100,000 jobs that were just wiped out in a month. Look at the trend of what's happened since last year, the beginning of last year. We've just been losing jobs. And, sometimes it could be because of AI, but probably not all the time. Probably not all the time, right? Sometimes it's just because these companies can downsize. They need to downsize. Their profit margin is shrinking. The cost of goods have gone up. The price of labor has gone up. Right? Like that's what's happening. The productivity has gone down since the pandemic. The productivity, remember that whole push of like, everyone's got to get back into the office. Why? Because they would see the productivity go down. So this is happening. So it could be because of AI, but it could just be because like these companies are like struggling a bit and they need to cut things. Well, labor is one of the the first things that go. So if you don't want to be on the chopping block, you got to upgrade your skill sets. And I'm telling you, if you can actually just dive into some of these AI things that are happening, don't be so scared. Like, let's go back to school, like not the institution of school. Let's go back to learning. Like, what was that like? What was it like? I know you've been out of school for some time, but like learning never stops. So if you want to make more money, you got to keep learning. AI is something to learn. Not just because you're fearful of your job, but because it could literally change your life. I don't know if you've paid attention. I mentioned, I've talked to people about this Claude Bot, like agentic AI. Let's talk about that. Agentic AI, like creating an AI agent. It's basically like creating someone that works for you, but you tell it what to do. Instead of it being a human being doing this work, back, right? Like this is gonna, what industry this is gonna ruin? This is gonna ruin virtual assistants unless they upgrade their skill set. The VA market, remember people selling courses on how to become a virtual assistant or how to become an executive assistant or all those things. They should probably, like, we're not gonna need as many of them as we have right now. You're not gonna need a VA to do these things. Now, if the VA learns how to control an AI agent, then that's the VA's upgrading of their skill set so their job isn't taken. But that's literally what's happening. Claude Bot, there's some others that are out there, but basically you can create an assistant for yourself that can do all the things. You give it access to certain things on your computer or and it'll do all the things for you. You can wake up, you can click and see like, oh, it completed these tasks while you were sleeping. You know how we've gotten fascinated in the money space of saying like, I need to make money while I'm sleeping. Agentic AI is a form of having people work for you while you're sleeping. Like that's, so if you don't understand what I'm even talking about, take some time to research. Take some time to play around with it. People are talking about it. I heard a guy on TikTok say something like, just go search AI on like TikTok or YouTube shorts or something like that. And just look at like the last 40 videos. And people are talking about it. They're like giving you insight. Don't push away against it if you want to go make more money, if you want to raise your cash flow. I'm telling you, this is going to be a place that you're going to want to sit. I know you've heard this before, but maybe I can just help give you a little bit of that battery in your back to go actually do some of this work. Agentic AI, play around with it. What would it be like for you to have an agent? What would it be like for you to have a personal assistant? Like, what would you make it do? This is where creativity is going to win. See, they've numbed us as a society a lot of times. They've numbed us to like being creative. We become sheep. We don't have our own creative thoughts. But for the people that are still creative, your brain is so clear that you just have thoughts and ideas like, what if this happens? What if we're able to do this? What if we could make that work? Man, how would I be able to do this? If that's the way your brain works and you're creative, you're going to win. You're going to win. The people that aren't creative, like, tell me what to do. Just tell me where to be, what to do, where to go. Let me just sit back, live my life this way. Like, you tell me what I got to do for work or like what industry. And then the rest of my life, I'm just going to turn my brain off. I might be curious about random things, right? But like, I'm not really creative. Those people are going to lose long term. Those are the people that it's really going to impact and affect. So you got to get clear. You got to start having some creativity and then play around with these platforms so you can see like, man, I can create anything I want. You can literally create anything you want. Anything you want. Let me say that one more time. You can literally create anything you want. And this is where people get scared with AI because people start to have that fear inside of them of like, oh, like someone's going to use it to create a bomb or something, or someone's going to use it to like blow up the world, or like, I don't know, right? Like all the crazy stuff that people think about sometimes. But like, what if you used it for good? What if you used it for like the best parts of life? What if you used it to get more clarity on your life? I had this conversation with someone because I saw this because I watch a lot of this stuff, y'all. So I saw this conversation happening with some very successful, like wealthy people. And they were like, over time, like doctors, we're not going to need doctors in the same way. Doctors have been up on a pedestal for a very, very long time as one of those careers that like, they're it, right? Make the money, right? High, the prestige in society, I guess, the doctor field, right? If you're an MD, right, it's up there. I heard them have this conversation about one day we're not going to need doctors in the same way. Doesn't mean like, and this is where people get it wrong. Doesn't mean AI is going to replace every single doctor in the world. It means that we're not going to need them in the same way, which means they're probably not going to get paid in the same way. How? So they were talking about that this is happening today. If you've ever been to a doctor and they've given you a diagnosis of something, right? You know the process when you go to a doctor, right? Hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling these symptoms. You're talking to a human. They're just kind of like writing it down for you. And then they're like, hey, okay, let's go get some lab work done, right? Let's go get some lab work done. Let's go take some blood work. Let's go take a scan, MRI, or whatever. Like, let's go get some work done. So then the doctor, the human, has some things to look at to say, okay, from my expertise, here's what I see. That's what a doctor does, right? They say, hey, from my expertise, from what I've learned in medical school, from my experience of working with patients, from what I've learned, here's how I can diagnose you. Are doctors wrong? All the time. You know that, all the time. My mom has multiple sclerosis. Her first diagnosis was lupus. Why? Because it's a human. Might be highly paid, might be highly trained, but at the end of the day, it's a human. So doctors give wrong diagnoses all the time, all across the world. So what happens now, they say, okay, these are your charts. This is all your information. Here's our diagnosis. You don't like that? Guess what you can get? You can get a second opinion. You can go to another doctor and be like, hey, I went to this doctor. They told me this. I don't really believe that doctor. And I hope this isn't true. Right. So like, can you look at these labs or run your own tests and then get me some more, give me a second opinion on this. This is very common, right? I'm just telling you how life is working right now. This is how it works. You go get the second opinion. It might be the same. They might see something different. They might say, well, we saw this, blah, blah, blah. Automated learning, AI, artificial intelligence, right? Automated learning, machine learning is smarter and has the collective knowledge of the best doctors, of every medical book that has been written, every piece of information around a certain diagnosis, a certain cancer, a certain disease. It's infinite intelligence being built, right? But it is smarter than the human, just from sheer knowledge, right? Like from how it works, from the learning of a machine, right? It's smarter. It has more information. If we got to be able to agree on that point when we talk about AI. Like it might not give you the exact. Some platforms are different, right? All the large language models are a little bit different, but like just in general, like it has more knowledge than the human. It can take it all in, synthesize it, all this stuff. So moving forward, what if you went to the doctor, or you went to the office of a doctor, right? That you might not see the doctor. You went to the office of a doctor and you got your labs done. You got your blood work done. You got your MRI, your CAT scan, and then you uploaded that into some AI, some machine learning thing. It could be something new that we haven't seen, right? A platform that's just for medical. It could be a large language model like a Chat GPT or a Claude, or right, any of those right now. And if you uploaded that in there and you told it all the things that you're feeling and your symptoms, do you think that that thing could diagnose exactly what it is? Do you think it has enough intelligence to know this is what we see and this is what you're saying, so this is probably what it is, with like 100% surety, 99.9% surety, this is what it is, and here's how to fix it? And then you say, you know what, but I don't like Western medicine. I'm not a big fan of like how do I do this, traditional Chinese medicine side? Or how do I do this in a holistic way? Do you think it would give you the answers? You're right. If we have that technology at our fingers now, what does 5 years look like? For you kids that are 18, 19, you're about to go to medical school. Like, what is that going to look like? If you don't need to learn all the information, like information is now commoditized. Information, what we used to go seek, is commoditized. I'm talking about the medical space. Could this not happen? Could you not upload all your things and be like, tell me about my health? Here's all my labs, all my panels, all the things. What do I need to be eating right now? What is a doctor there for? So what would we need a doctor for? Would that not make our society supremely healthy? Right? If it's just a knowledge thing, like, oh, I didn't know I shouldn't eat this. Oh, I didn't know this was harming my body. I didn't know, but now you know. Wouldn't that make us healthier over time as a species, like as a human race? Like, wouldn't that make us, if we have all the information, it would make us smarter and make better choices, right? This is why you got to learn AI. This is why it can change every aspect of your life. It'll change the education system. You're upset that your child doesn't get the right type of education because you're in the wrong neighborhood. Well, there's going to be plenty of platforms that train and teach children exactly where they are right now at their level with the way they need to learn. And this machine has learned how to teach your child better than the third grade teacher that just yells all day, or is not a good teacher, or your professor that doesn't know how to lecture properly. Like it'll all get commoditized, y'all. I'm excited for the future. That's my outlook. Those that are excited about the future, that can have creativity, that can move quick, that like innovation, we're going to win. So my encouragement to all of you that, again, you want to go off and make more money. This is a show about cash flow. It's about how do I bring in more income. We make money at the level of our skill set, and learning AI will be a skill set that will create you more money. Sure, we can go down the trades route. We're going to need people. I mean, at the end of the day, the electrician space, like if you really want to go there, we got to retrain the brain. I just talked to Natalie last week about that. Go look at last week's episode. But if you really want to go there, like we have to retrain our society that like working with your hands is a good thing. Working in the trades and the plumbing, HVAC, electrical, right? Like that side is actually going to win because we still need people to run these things, to create these things. The amount of energy that will be generated, like you're going to need electricians, you're going to need people to put these things in place. Like that's going to be a huge industry, possibly the electricians of the next 5-10 years will be the doctors of this time, will be the surgeons of this time, will be the highest paid professionals of our society. If you're 22, 24, you might want to switch your career now. You might want to switch. You might want to, again, go back a year ago. I had a BizBuzz live show where I talked about Path to Pro, right? The Home Depot modules that'll give you a certification that'll teach you any trade that you want for free. Maybe that's what you need to go do. Maybe you're like, hey, I need to figure out how to do this electrical work, or right? Heck, I may go, I may figure out how to be an electrician. I'll be honest, right? Like it's a skill. Like I'm like, oh man, this is going to be super valuable over the next 10 years. I'm just saying, life is changing. If you want to keep up with making money, you want to outpace inflation, you're concerned about getting laid off, or you're concerned about how much money you have now, man, you need to upgrade your skill set. You need to learn some things. I would start with AI because you can create. If you have a creative brain, you can create anything your heart desires. Hopefully it's for the good. Hopefully you have good in your heart. And so you can create things that are good for people. But man, once we have this under our belt, life is going to change for you. You'll be able to make all the money that you want to because you have now a different skill set than people that are choosing to just push against it. So that's my encouragement to y'all this week on BizBuzz Live. Again, the reason why we talk about this is because we have to have the incoming cash flow conversations. We have the outflow conversations a lot. Okay, I know where my money goes. All right, I budget. Okay, cool. But the top end of that is like, how are we going to keep making money? And you can't just let people that create new skill sets for themselves actually go out and like make all the money. You can't go out and like think that they're going to take all the spoil. Like you got to upgrade your skill sets in 2026 so that you can start making the money that you deserve to get to the life you want ultimately. So that's what I'm here to help with, y'all. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to shoot me a DM, shoot me a message. I'm here active on LinkedIn. Again, YouTube, you guys can get to me as well. Follow me on all the other platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're at, right? I'm there. And I want to have these conversations with you. If you want to bounce ideas off of each other of like what you can go off and do, let's have the conversation. But most importantly, y'all, from today's conversation, you got to learn AI. You got to learn even what it is. Just go do some research. Not all the bad stuff, not all the negative things, not all the water it's going to take, not all, like, how are people practically using it? We've watched this happen in society over time. You don't want to be the person that is the cobblestoner, right? The horseshoe maker. And then all of a sudden we don't need horses, right? You don't want that to be you and your family. I don't want that for you and your family, but we got to go learn, spend an hour a day on some of these platforms and you'll get better. Trust me. If not, reach out. I'll help you through the process. All right, y'all. We're here back next Friday. Enjoy your week. Until next time.